What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another video. In today's video, we'll be going over a task 1 speaking question, which can be found at zabintoefl.com under TPO number 3. Now, let's take a look at the question and start organizing the beginning sentence as soon as possible. Some students prefer to work on class assignments by themselves. Others prefer it is better to work on assignments in a group. Which do you prefer? Okay, so the beginning sentence is, if I really had to make a choice between working on class assignments by myself and in a group, I would honestly prefer the former. So I'm going to encourage you guys to say that you prefer to work on class assignments by yourselves, all right? Now, I was able to say that very concisely and neatly because I realized that working on assignments is redundant. So what did I do? I took that out in the beginning sentence and just said in a group for the second option. So you guys have to realize and notice which words are being repeated so that you don't end up saying too many words and wasting a lot of time without even knowing what happened. Now, in the first reason, I'm going to say completing schoolwork by oneself can be very beneficial. And in the second reason, I'm going to say studying in a group or studying with friends can be detrimental. Now, the first detail, I have something planned out. I'm going to say realize weaknesses, overcome difficulties, become independent. And in the second detail, I'm going to say most teens waste time, procrastinate with friends. So those are like the key words. Those are the words that will guide me through the detailed sentences because realistically, the 25 seconds of approximate preparation time isn't going to be enough for you to write everything out. Obviously not. And to be honest, for the first reason and second reason, you shouldn't even have to write down the adjectives because most of the time it's going to be beneficial and detrimental or beneficial and helpful, right? Okay, now let's see how I put this all together in my sample response. If I really had to make a choice between working on class assignments by myself and in a group, I would honestly prefer the former. To begin with, the first thing that came to my mind as I read this question is that completing schoolwork by oneself can be really beneficial. This is mainly due to the fact that doing so would enable students to realize their weaknesses, overcome difficulties, and ultimately become much more independent. In addition to this, studying with friends can end up being quite detrimental, since most teenagers these days waste a lot of time and just procrastinate when they study with their close friends. As a result, I definitely prefer working on class assignments by myself. Alright, now I saw about 5 or 4 seconds left and still went with the ending statement, which was why it was so risky at the end, okay? I think I was lucky enough not to get interrupted or cut off at the end, but it was definitely a little nerve-wracking and I even did that little gesture because I was so happy about the fact that I didn't get interrupted or barely made it. So don't take that risk of saying the ending sentence if you notice that you see a number that's smaller than 5 and therefore don't have enough time for a wrap-up statement. I'm going to say this again. An ending sentence is only there if you have enough time. If you don't have enough time, please omit and skip over it, please. Because when you're having when you're telling another person about what's going to happen and you only spoke about 45 seconds, you shouldn't have to remind that person once again what you guys were talking about, especially if you don't have enough time, right? So the ending sentence is not absolutely necessary. What's absolutely necessary is for you to say 2 reasons and 2 supporting details because that's the information that's going to support your opinion, which was already mentioned in the beginning sentence, right? Okay, so please understand and accept this because if you don't, you're always going to be pushing yourself to speak at a faster rate that's uncomfortable for you. And if that happens, if that persists, speaking is going to continue being a nightmare, all right? You got to start working from simpler, shorter sentences. I mean, these are not simple, short sentences, but you got to start somewhere and build on, okay? Build something that's greater and bigger as time passes because if you want to start from the pinnacle, you're only going to end up deconstructing and kind of falling down the hill rather than climbing up. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed what you saw, what you experienced, what you listened to, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, share the content, but most importantly, if you are a self-disciplined and dedicated person, reach out to me about my tutoring services. Let's get the score that you need and deserve as quickly as possible once everything gets back to normal. Peace!